example, one of those things with these paintings is that they're human scale. All of the paintings are 5'7" tall. They're scaled to the human body. And one of the ways to start thinking about the pieces is that there's a central figure in them that relates to the human spine. And among the many sources that Douglas looked at, he calls these pieces, these overlapping floral patterns, though they're again abstracted floral patterns, as creating the 7 centers of energy in Hinduism, the chakra. So you feel the energy. It's sort of like these pieces, in some way, are presenting the energy of the human spirit.
It's also a kind of metaphor for male-female. I think one of the most important things for me is content. One student asked me at one point, she was asked, what is art? Or art really reveals something about, the human condition, in terms of literature. But I was always interested in abstraction, in the sense that perhaps this doesn't have to be definitive or descriptive, but it can contain the essence of that condition. And most of the artists that I admired in the 20th century, 21st century, I deal with this particular concept. And it's always been something I've been involved with, and I kind of seek it out, actually. And the most recent work has been, I've been allowing myself to really go beyond a kind of Western idea. I mean, I was basically a minimalist, grounded in late modern abstraction. And this work, I just allowed myself to kind of like have a broader base, and allowing all these other references that have to do with Eastern art, allowing that to sort of find its way into the imagery.
One of the intriguing things that Douglas works with is the interplay between the figure, the chakra that's in the foreground of the painting and what's in the background of the painting, and using different combinations of colors. And in some of the paintings, that central figure disappears, and some of it pops out, and some it interleaves. And that's sort of part of what Douglas is working with.
There was this dialogue between creating permutations in the background and keeping the same figure but changing the color of the figure. This figure kind of like responded in different ways. In some way it softened, in some ways it became harder. They're not in conflict, but they're, again, that figure-ground relationship.
In a way, these are very much Cleveland paintings, because they're in day-glow paint, and day-glow paint was invented and still is manufactured in Cleveland. From the time I grew up, it was in the 50s and 60s, and day-glow was very much popular in those days, in the vibrant colors. And it's sometimes, I think that's part of the history of this, that it's with that as a past that we share. And after a few decades, that we can start to look at these very, very bright colors and combinations. Some of the paint has a sort of glossy feel to it, some of it a little bit opaque, and some of it very, very, very clear with the brush strokes. But the other part is, of course, is that by being able to do it on the reverse as well, the paintings are actually a little bit less fussy than they appear. That you can, as you're painting on reverse, go over the lines a little bit, and it still shows up as very neat edges. Part of it's painted on the front, part of it's painted as well, not the back, the reverse. Douglas is very specific about this. And that makes some things possible.
I can use it full strength on the back, but translucency of the medium kind of like tones it down a bit. But still, if you look at them, the color is very intense. It's bright. There is a vibration, if you look closely, between the paint that's under and the paint that's on top. You can see how those colors kind of float, separate, vibrate.
He's a great painter. It's as with many people that I show, my relationship has to do with the work. Douglas is determined in his painting, reflective, a little bit compulsive. The colors, it isn't okay for the colors to be close. It isn't okay for things to almost work. Things have to work exactly. It's a little bit compulsive, but on the other hand, as you get close to pieces, a lot of, let's say, call it pattern painting is about the graphic image. As you get close to these, the brushstroke becomes very important. There's all sorts of things going on when you get close to the work that you don't see at a distance.
You can see more of Douglas Sanderson's work on view at the William Busta Gallery, located at 2731 Prospect Avenue. For more information, you can call the gallery at 216-298-9071 or look for a link to the artist's webpage when you click over to the Applause homepage at wviz.org.